Well, this is it. This is the video that everybody's been waiting for. It's the transfer over of all my corals to the new system. This is the new 20 long with the Walt Smith 2.1 or whatever rock. I cycled it for a little over 8 weeks. I used, let me see, some startup bacteria. I used a little bit of rock from my other tank in here with it for a while. I used some stability. After about 6 weeks, it was ready for a fish, and I got that little blue damsel, and then I let it finish cycling out. It was cycled. It was good enough to put a fish in that it was stable, but I just wanted to make sure it was stable for a couple weeks every day before I added the coral, because some of these colonies are big, and a frag I think can handle the change from one tank to another a lot easier than a big colony that's been used to stability for a long time. So I took a whole day and had my children be watched by my other kids and my husband, and just took a whole day and slowly took everything off of the rock work and off of plugs and put them around here. The scariest thing for me to move over was this Gonopora, and I had to actually cut it with a Dremel off of the rock work. I was afraid it was going to crack or shatter, and it did really well. I only had it out of the water for probably 2 minutes. I had a new blade, a diamond blade on my Dremel, and cut right underneath of it, put it right in this tank, glued it down good, and within probably 6 days or so it was back to its happy fluffy self. My beautiful huge Recordias, I cut them up and glued them back in here so they're not quite as big as they were, and it took them a while to get happy again, but you can tell that orange one is really getting happy. They're starting to grow now and divide again, so I should have a nice little Recordia garden, and I started a few over here as well on this rock. When I moved everything, my SPS all lost color. They were so used to the stability of the other tank, and so the only thing that didn't lose color was the pink Stylophora right here. It stayed nice and pink. It was not happy. I had it on the other side and moved it over here, and now it's very fuzzy, very happy and growing. The bird of paradise back there in the middle of the screen turned brown. This purple Stylophora in the middle of the screen turned brown. It's just now starting to turn purple again. The tips and the polyps are purpling up, if purpling is a word. Let's see what else. The Aiken down in the sand, it actually lost its color, and it's just starting to turn more of a bright orange and be happier again. The only thing, I also had, let's see, the Duncan colony in the middle of the screen. It had some trouble adjusting, but within about a week it was slowly coming back around and coming out. In my other tank, probably 6 months ago, I had a beautiful bouquet of Grandis Palles, dark green Grandis Palles, down in the bottom right hand corner, and I gifted it to a friend because it was giving off such amount of toxins that it was killing everything in that corner of the tank, and I gave them to her with the understanding I could get a frag from her back if I wanted it. And so I actually did go. They kind of had bleached a little bit in her tank, and they're darkening up again in this tank, and so I've got them on their own rock. It looks like it's a part of the rock work, but it's actually on its own rock, so I can keep it, because they are invasive and powerful sting, give off an awful lot of chemicals for their neighbors that don't make them happy. So I'm going to keep it a small colony, and I put it on this rock that's kind of jutting out here, and I'm going to keep it trimmed back pretty small. I have a lot of plans for what I want to do, a few things, but really I'm not going to overcrowd this tank. I really want to just let things fill in on their own and not have it so overcrowded. Trying to get away with not dosing. So far I have not needed to dose. I've always used instant ocean salt, and I've slowly switched over to Red Sea Pro. And if I use the Red Sea Pro full strength, it seems to make some of my SPS, my bird's nest STN, and so I cut it. I used 3 parts of the Red Sea Pro in 1 scoop of the Instant Ocean, and it seems to be a perfect balance for this tank and my 10-gallon tank. So that's the salt I'm using, so I hopefully won't have to dose. The few things that I'm kind of wanting to do is, I have a friend that has a beautiful plating coral that she wants to give me a frag off of, and I probably will put it on this island where that thing is, that frag is, so it can grow out a little bit, and I'll have to keep it in check because it grows very fast. I had an extra, the candy canes there, I'm going to leave there, and I had an extra bunch there, and I just stuck them there to fill in space, but I would like to find something to put there to grow besides those that is bright. I'll have to figure something out. I haven't decided what yet, but I'm going to do something there a little different. I bought a frag right there of Gonapora last week. It is not happy in this tank. It is not happy with where it is. It's either too much light or too much flow, because that overflow from my hang on the back is right there. Gives this a lot of water movement, and it's a lot. It shouldn't be the flow. I think it's the light. I might move that to the back or side of the tank. I don't have a lot of room in here because like I said, I don't want to fill it up. I just want to make it pretty and not so many corals I need to dose, and not so many corals that there's so much warfare going on. But anyway, this is the final product. Of course, all of our tanks are, you know, a work in progress. So this will always be a work in progress with me having ideas and changing things and tweaking things here and there. But I did get a firefish, if you can see up in the corner there. So I have him and the damsel and the 2 clowns. And there's a watchman goby in there too. But all in all, this is the final work in progress. And I will show you my old tank just kind of for funny, but just imagine crickets chirping as I go to the old tank and what it looks like now. This literally is the old tank. All the frags are gone. I've gifted them away, or given them away, or sold them, or traded them. There's a few things in there still. I've got a 6 Line Wrasse that's in there right now because he was in my 10 and was harassing my yellow clown goby so much that I think he was going to die. So I caught the 6 line and put him in here. I'm going to rehome him. I have a few little frags on the frag rack that I'm holding for a friend. I have just some various things I got to scoop out of there. There's some pulsing xenia and another mushroom it looks like over there, and just miscellaneous scarves. I'm trying to get that little guy to attach to a rock. He did not handle the move to the new 20 long well at all. And I don't know if he's going to die or not, but right now he just needed a place to... He let go of the rock and just started floating around. He's losing color. So we put him in here as a kind of a little hospital tank. But this tank I'm going to probably break down here as soon as I find that Wrasse a home. And my friends come and pick up the last few frags there. And crickets chirping from its former beauty. This is what's left of it. And it was a great tank, it really was, but I'm so much happier with my new one. So all in all, I'm very glad that I made the change. I know that it's not as beautiful yet as my old tank, and a lot of people were kind of upset that I was breaking it down and everything, but the reasons were it was overcrowded. I was having to dose so much and trim things back, and things were fighting. I had made the mistake of putting mushrooms and zoas on my main rock work, and they were actually climbing up and killing SPS. After 4 years of unchecked growth, the zoas were everywhere and killing things. There's no way to keep them in check. And I was, you know, dosing so much. It was just so overcrowded. Just, there wasn't any more room for anything to grow out, too. With a nano tank, you have that problem. But anyways, I'm put... The few zoas I have in this tank are on that rock there, underneath there, and it's on a separate rock. If you can see, it's kind of pulled out away from everything else. The pallies that I have on that other rock right there in the lower right-hand corner, and it has a few mushrooms on that rock, is on a separate rock. So there's no pulsing xenia, no green star polyps, and so I can kind of let this tank just grow out, do its thing, and it should be a lot less headache in the future of maintaining, trimming, clipping, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm giving everything plenty of room. I have a very bad habit of overcrowding my tanks, and so I'm going to do my best to try and give everything plenty of space to grow out and just fill in and look beautiful. So, but anyway, this was the update everybody had been waiting for, and I'm really happy I did it. It was a long process, but it's been worth it. It really has. I'm really enjoying the tank now and making plans and doing things in it. So, but I hope everybody's tanks are doing well, that your parameters are in check, that your corals are fuzzy and fluffy and happy, and that y'all are going to begin to have a great summer. And blessings and happy reefing.